Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video, we have part 3 to our celebration for 100,000 subscribers. I have to be a little quiet because it's kind of late and people are trying to sleep in my household, and I'm up in my sister's room, and so, long story short, I'm going to be a little whispery today, but today's going to be the top 50 JDM cars for less than $10,000. I just wanted to make sure it was 10K and not 5K. However, a good number of these, obviously, you can find for 5K. Now, again, thank you guys so much for reaching 100,000 subscribers. In celebration, I decided to do 3 big videos for it. Obviously, I did a thank you video 2 days ago, or 3 days ago at this point. 2 days ago was the 100 sports cars under 10K. Yesterday was the 100 most popular JDM cars of all time, and now today is the 50 JDM sports cars under 10K. For those wondering why I didn't do 100, a couple reasons. One, I couldn't even find, it was hard to find 50, and on top of that, I don't have the space on my phone. It would have taken so long to do another 100, so we're just going to do a top 50. But without further ado, let's get right into the list with number 50. I guess number 50 is actually the perfect one to start with because it lets me talk about something real quick. It's the Honda Fit 2nd generation. And this is what I mean by lets me talk about something, because yeah, most of these are sports cars, but some of them are just JDM cars that are fun or different from just like a Camry. However, the Fit 2nd gen comes with a 1.5 liter inline 4, making 117 horsepower, going to, of course, the front wheels because it's a Honda. Yes, they're tiny. Yes, they're jokes of cars, but I've seen some people make them little sports cars, and it seems like a fun time. 49th is going to the Honda CR-V 1st gen. So 2 Hondas in a row. Spoiler alert, there's a decent amount of Hondas on this list because Hondas are cheap and they're always good options. The 1st gen CR-V, my bad, comes with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 201 horsepower, and it's a 4x4. However, before it is a 4x4, it is front wheel drive, so kind of have to keep that in mind. On top of that, that motor is a K-Series, and they come with a manual SUV with a K-Series. Count me in. 48th is going to a car that I believe made it in all 3 of the big celebration videos. There's going to be a couple of those, but it's the Mazda RX-7 FB. I know this was in the top 100 JDM cars of all time, and I believe it was in the top 100 sports cars under 10K too, and it's also in this one, so congratulations, FB RX-7, you made it. Comes with a 1.1 liter 2-rotor rotary engine, making 100 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. Obviously not the best for everybody, but you got to be a certain type of person, and if you are that certain type of person, you will probably love this thing. 47th position is going to the Nissan Maxima 5th generation. Also, the 4th gen is a good option as well. I don't think it's on this list. I want to make sure really quick. Yeah, I don't think it is. So if you want the Nissan Maxima 4th gen, is also a good option. But the 5th gen comes with a 3-liter V6, making 222 horsepower, going to the front wheels. That is the same motor that they were putting into 300ZX at the time. Obviously, a little bit watered down. That maybe they put some H2O in there, but it's still a fun car. 46 is just a beaut. It's just a gosh darn beaut. It's the Subaru 2.5 RS GC. Unfortunately, you cannot find WRX GC 8s anymore for less than 10K, but you can find the 2.5 RSs quite easily under 10K, and they're still pretty cool, man. They come with a 2.5 liter flat 4, making 165 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive. Of course, it's not the best in terms of like its performance or anything like that. The 2.5 liter flat 4 isn't the best at making power, especially when you boost it by head gaskets, but it's a cool looking little rally car. 45th is another SUV, actually, the Toyota 4Runner 3rd generation. 4Runners are incredibly popular. I love 4Runners. I've never obviously had one, but I really am thinking about buying one for like a little like car to use as like a car to take on trips and stuff, because they're just that good. They come with a 3.4 liter V6, making 183 horsepower, and they are 4x4. Duh. 4Runners are reliable, good looking SUVs. I want one. 44th, however, is going to the Subaru BRZ ZN6. Yes, you could find ZN6 BRZs under 10K. No, it's not going to be easy. Yes, they might have some problems, but it can be done. And if you do, they come with a 2-liter flat 4, making 200 horsepower, and it's rear-wheel drive. I understand, 200 horsepower, that's it in a car that looks that sporty. It's like a newer sports car, and it only makes 200 horsepower. Eat dookie, man. 200 horsepower. It's incredibly lightweight. It's like the next generation Miata, pretty much. It's our generation's Miata. 43rd, however, is going to a bit of a weird one. Another one that's kind of like you have to be a certain type of person to want one. It's the Toyota Cressida. Just a sedan. Most people might not look at it as anything special, and it really isn't anything special. It only comes with a 3-liter inline 6, making 190 horsepower, but it's rear-wheel drive, which means the drifters like it. They put some 1JZs in here, 2JZs in here. They put some 1UZs in here, and they have a blast with it. Is it the best option out there for everybody? No, but it's a fun little sedan drift car. 42nd is going to another Toyota. Actually, there's going to be 3 Toyotas in a row here. It's the Toyota MR2 AW11, the first generation of the MR2. Obviously, don't worry, the second gen is going to be on this list too, but the first gen MR2 is here at number 42, and it comes with a 1.6 liter inline 4 making 122 horsepower going to the rear wheels. It's also mid-engined. Duh, you already know that. You already know about snap oversteer, so I don't gotta mention it, but I did anyway, just to rub it in. But yeah, it's a fun little track car if you can manage to handle it, but I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Barely missing out on the top 40, however, at 41st position is the Toyota Celica GT 6th generation, the 6th gen Celica GT. I don't think the 7th gen's on here, but even if it is, this is still a really good option. It comes with a 2.2 liter inline 4 making 135 horsepower in its front wheel drive. These puppies look insane. I love them. I've always loved how these puppies look. They're just like they have like the Acura Integra sort of eyeballs on them, you know, like the spider eyes, and I love that. But breaking its way into the top 40, and admittedly this car could have gone a lot higher, but it's the Honda Civic EG. Yes, I know that the EG Civic is like the tuner icon in this world nowadays. Everybody wants an EG Civic, and for good reason. They are good cars, but I put it down here for multiple reasons. It comes with a 1.5 liter inline 4 making 106 horsepower in front wheel drive, and if you are not going to like put a ton of time into building this thing and making it just an absolute rocket ship, I really don't think it should be everybody's first choice, at least, especially at the price that they're at now. They're just getting too expensive. 39th is going to a bit of an oddball, the one that not many people even know exist, and the people that do know exist, they probably don't really want them. It's the Subaru SVX. This car is incredibly slept on, but honestly, kind of not at the same time, because it does make sense why people don't talk about it. It comes with a 3.3 liter flat 6 making 230 horsepower in its front wheel drive or all wheel drive, depends on where you live. But again, it's not a race, like a big race car. It wasn't super competitive in that sense, but it's just a cool, wacky sports car. 38th is another car just like the SVX, where I feel like most people don't even know it exists, and if they do know it exists, they probably don't talk about it that much. It's the Mazda MX-6. The MX-6 came with a 2.5 liter V6, my bad, making 164 horsepower going to the front wheels. Obviously, that's kind of the reason why people don't like it. The V6 isn't good for making power, and it's front wheel drive, and it only comes with 160 horsepower factory. It's a Ford Probe, but rebadged, and people didn't like the Ford Probe, so they don't like the Mazda version, but it looks pretty cool. Another car that's kind of like, I just think it looks cool, and that's why it made the list. Number 37 is the Toyota Celica GT 7th generation. This is the newest, so I was right earlier when I said that the 7th gen is on this list. It is newer, and I would say it's probably the better car over the 6th gen GT. It comes with a 1.8 liter inline 4 making 170 horsepower in its front wheel drive. I don't get that twisted, by the way. I said it's a better car than the 6th gen GT. The 6th gen GT4 is obviously much better than this, but I'm just, in terms of just the regular GTs, this is probably the better car. You're probably gonna have more fun with it overall. 36th, however, is going to the beautiful Lexus GS300/GS400. I love these cars, and I've been falling in love with them more and more every day. Excuse me. Every day that I mention them, I always am like, oh, I kind of like it now, even more than I did before. And we're going to talk about the 400. I'm like choking up over here. We're going to talk about the 400 instead of the 300, which comes with a 4 liter V8 making 270 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. And the reason why we're talking about that one over the 300 is both of them are automatic only. And if you are going to get an automatic GS, which obviously you're going to have to because they only come with automatic, I would just go with the 400 then. 35th is an actual, like, true 100% JDM car, the Nissan Safiro A31, unless you import it from somewhere else. That's very possible as well. You can import it from like Thailand and then it wouldn't be JDM, but still, the A31 Safiro, it's an import. We didn't get them in America. It comes with a 2 liter inline 4 making 123 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. It's nothing special, but the fact that it's an import is pretty cool. People overseas love these things. A31 Safiros are modified like crazy in different countries. Over here, it's not the most popular, but because of that, they're really cheap for an import. 34th is going to a bit of a one that is kind of like, again, it's like the bottom of this list is kind of cars that you have to be the certain type of person to drive them. It's the Subaru Legacy GT 2nd generation, specifically the 2nd generation Legacy GT, by the way, not Legacy, which comes with a 2.5 liter flat 4 making 165 horsepower in its all-wheel drive. If that motor sounds familiar, it's because it is. It was the same motor we were talking about with the Impreza we talked about earlier. Do I think this one is better than it? Yes, it pains me to say that because I like the looks of the Impreza better, but overall, this is definitely the better car. 33rd is one that might hurt some people's feelings because I seem to have like a cult following of them subscribe to my channel. The Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Like I said, everybody on my channel loves this car. Every time I talk about it, people are like, yes, yes, the 3000 GTs are goated. And it is really cool, but just not the best under 10K. Comes with a 3-liter V6 making 170 horsepower, and it's front wheel drive. Again, that's kind of like the MX-6 we talked about earlier. It's just, it looks sick, but everything else about it, it's just not gonna do good. VR4, yeah, the VR4 is great, but the regular one just not. 32nd is a bit of a 2-for-1 because they're pretty much exactly the same car. The Honda CRX and Honda Del Sol. Like I said, these things are pretty much exactly the same. I'm pretty sure they run off the EG Civic platform, but they're just lighter, so that's why they're so much higher. They come with a 1.6 liter inline 4, making 160 horsepower, and it's front wheel drive, which actually that motor sounds just like this the same as the EM1 Civic Si, so maybe they run off the 6th gen platform. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, good cars, good little sports cars. They're Hondas, so you can make them even faster if you want to. I think they're just a better deal than EG Civics. But barely missing out on the top 30 is going to the Toyota Tacoma first generation. I love the first gen Tacomas. If they weren't like such small interiors and like you couldn't like fit anything in the interior, I would probably have one because they look so cool. But they come with a 3.4 liter V6 making 190 horsepower, and they are of course 4x4. They're incredibly reliable. They can go wherever you want them to go. They're good on gas. They're just a perfect mini truck example. They're going to be a lot of fun. Honestly, any Tacoma under 10K is a good deal. But breaking its way into the top 30, this is one of the vehicles that did not make it into my most legendary JDM cars list, but it will make it into this one, the Subaru Forester SF/SG. I get it, this is a crossover SUV before crossover SUVs were a thing, so you might not like it. But you should, because it comes with a 2.5 liter flat 4 making 165 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive. Again, the same motor as the Legacy we talked about and the Impreza we talked about, so why is this one higher? Because it's so much more baller to just slam a Forester and have fun in that than it is to have fun in like a Legacy or something like that. 29th is a bit of an unreliable one. If it wasn't unreliable, God, imagine if this car was like a reliable machine, like a practical purchase. It's the Mazda RX-8, which comes with a 1.3 liter 2-rotor rotary engine making 212 horsepower going to the rear wheels. Again, dude, if this car was just reliable, it would have been sick. 200 something horsepower to the rear wheels, and it looks like it does. Oh my God, this car would have been awesome. But because it's unreliability, it doesn't really get talked about that much. 28th is another actual true JDM import car if you have it in America, the Toyota Mark II GX100. Unfortunately, you cannot find like a JZX100 under 10K. That's obviously just impossible, but the GX100s you can. And I get it, they're not as good, but they're still not bad. They come with a 2-liter inline 4 making 160 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. It's not anything special, like 160 horsepower rear wheel drive. These are automatics. They're pretty big too. Like, there's nothing crazy about them, but they're a sedan imported Mark II. Like, that's freaking sick. 27th is going to one of the most popular JDM cars out there, and yes, you can still find them under 10K. The Nissan 240SX S13. Obviously, they are overpriced, but because they're overpriced and there's so little of them, if you do buy one and you keep it in good condition, you'll just make money on it, man. They come with a 2.4 liter inline 4 making 145 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. Obviously, big drift cars. The reason why it's not like at the #1 spot on this list though is at this point you have to be buying it as sort of like an investment. You can't be like using this as like a daily. The next car, however, you can use as a daily because it's the Honda Prelude 4th generation. I love the 4th gen Prelude. I think it's the best looking of the entire Prelude family, and so that's why I put it on the list instead of the others. I don't think the 5th gen Prelude's on this list, at least. Let me just make sure before I start saying stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's not on this list. So the 4th gen Prelude is just like my personal favorite. That's why it's here. But anyway, it comes with a 2-liter inline 4 making 190 horsepower, and it's front wheel drive. The thing with Preludes is they have more power out of the gate than like a Civic, but they have less tuning potential. So you kind of got to make your choice there. 25th is a massive cheat code. I will admit it. It's the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Technically, Hyundai, we all know, is a Korean brand. It is not Japanese, so it will not be JDM, but I mean, come on, it's Asian and it's a really cool car. You gotta cut me some slack. It comes with a 3.8 liter V6 making 348 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. That is the BK2, but you can find a BK2 under 10K pretty easily. And it's rear wheel drive. I think they look incredible. They're relatively modern. Are they reliable? Not the best. Are they good for making power? Not the best. But there's a cool looking little rear wheel drive car. And you don't really even need to make power. 350 horsepower from the gate is enough. 24th is going to the land yacht of this list, the Lexus LS400. I will die on this hill. I don't understand all the hype behind this car. The car's great, don't get me wrong. I mean, it made this list and it makes a lot of my list, but I just don't get the hype behind it. Comes with a 4-liter V8 making 270 horsepower and it's rear-wheel drive. It's the same motor we were talking about with the GS400 earlier. And again, it's only automatic, but it's incredibly heavy. People buy these things not to like turn them into sports cars, but to turn them into like VIP, stancy stuff, and that's cool. But if you want like a sporty, fast car, definitely not the option for you. Another car that's actually just like that, where it's kind of a land yacht, number 23 is the Nissan Gloria Y33. It's another actual import. We did not get these in America, so if you do buy one, it's going to have to be imported from another country. And once you do, it comes with a 3-liter V6 making 222 horsepower and it's rear-wheel drive. That's again the same motor that the Maxima had earlier, and the same motor that the 300ZX has. So why is it so much higher than the Maxima, you may ask? Well, for a lot of reasons. One, it's an actual import, which is just baller in itself. It's right-hand drive, count me in. And the big one is its rear-wheel drive. 22nd is just a better version of the other car we were talking about earlier, the Nissan 240SX S14. The S14 is definitely harder to find cheap than the S13. The S13 is a much cheaper car than the S14, but for good reason. It's a better car. It comes with a 2.4 liter inline-4 making 155 horsepower and it's rear-wheel drive. Same KA truck motor that the S13 had. Pretty much the same platform realistically, but it's just a modernized version of it. They roughened out the edges, made this. Barely missing out on the top 20, however, is the Honda Civic Si 6th generation. This is the one that everybody calls the EK, but technically it's an EM1, but it's the 6th gen Civic Si. It comes with a 1.6 liter inline-4 making 160 horsepower in its front wheel drive. If that number sounds familiar, it's the number I used for the CRX and Del Sol. So why is it so much higher than them? Because it's a Civic. It has so much more platform, so much more potential, so much more aftermarket support. It's a lot cheaper than those cars are. Like CRXs are well, maybe not cheaper than a Del Sol, but definitely cheaper than a CRX. And breaking its way into the top 20, however, is the Mazda Miata NA or NB. They're pretty much exactly the same car. I honestly, at this point, I would recommend going with the NB over the NA. Call me crazy, but I really would. Comes with a 1.8 liter inline-4 making 135 horsepower and it's rear-wheel drive. And like I said, they're exactly the same pretty much, and you can find NBs for honestly probably even cheaper than NAs, if not at least the same price, and they're just a modern version with newer stuff in it. Like, why wouldn't you choose that? 19th, however, is going to a Legend. Literally, get it? I didn't even mean to make that joke. It's the Acura Legend. The Acura Legend is obviously the first Acura we ever got in the States, and it was a very cool, different, unique little car. It comes with a 3.2 liter V6, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it's front wheel drive. In terms of its power potential, these things don't really get modified that crazy, so I don't really know. But it's a Honda. I'm sure it can make some insane power. But the good thing is it's reliable because it's a Honda and it looks cool. 18th is not reliable though. No, sirree, Bob, it is not reliable. It's the Mazda RX-7 FC. The FC RX-7s, come on, partner. I mean, really? Partner? Come on, these things are just... Comes with a 1.3 liter, 2-rotor rotary engine, making 160 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive, just like the RX-8, just like the RX-7 FB we talked about earlier. Rotaries are not reliable. The FC RX-7, though, it's still not as reliable. I mean, it's actually probably more unreliable than the RX-8, but it's just so cool. It got pop-up headlights, so I had to put it higher. It's such an icon. 27th is going to a beauty, a car that a lot of you guys love on this channel, the Infiniti G35 Coupe. I realize I just said 27th, it's 17th place. You guys will know that by now, but still. The car comes with a 3.5 liter V6 making 287 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. Yes, that's a VQ. Yes, these cars get taken to takeovers all the time. Yes, it's still possible to find a very good deal on G35 Coupes. Not every single one of them have been destroyed yet. Is it hard? Yeah. Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of idiots that own these cars, but once you find a good one, you're never going to look back. I had a VQ. I loved it. 16th position is going to the other Toyota MR2. Like I said, it was here. You just didn't know when it was going to be. It's here. It's the Toyota MR2 SW20, which is the 2nd gen, which is much more popular than the AW11. Car comes with a 2.2 liter inline-4, making 130 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. Yes, it still is mid-engine. Yes, it still does experience snap oversteer like the 1st gen, but it's so much better in that. They handle it so much better, and it looks just so much more modern. The interior is so much more modern. You're just going to have a much better time owning than the AW11, I think. 15th, however, is going to the Toyota Supra Mark III. No, not the Mark IV. If you could find a Mark IV Supra under 10K, I would be bankrupt because I would have 20 of them. I would never stop buying them. But the Mark III Supra is still a really good deal. The car comes with a 2.5... There was a spider crawling on the ground there. It scared the crap out of me. Car comes with a 2.5 liter inline-6, making 200 horsepower on the diddly dot, and it is rear-wheel drive. Duh. Duh, it's rear-wheel drive because it's a Supra. So yeah, these things are like, kind of like slept on, honestly. I want to see more like people drifting Mark III Supras, man. Start drifting these things. 14th, it's going to my car, but a much cooler version of my car because it's the Acura Integra GSR. I have the LS. The GSR is just much more sporty. It has better power, better suspension, better brakes, better everything pretty much than the regular LS. Car comes with a 1.8 liter inline four, making 170 horsepower in its front wheel drive. These are definitely overpriced, but they are also one of those cars where if you buy them now, you'll probably make money on them. But if you can't afford a GSR, the regular LS, which is what I have, is relatively similar. 13th, I was about to say sorry because I took a break there, but then I realized you're not going to know that through the power of editing. But 13th is the Subaru WRX Stink Eye. Underrated is what I have to say about this bad boy. Underrated. My friend Eric has one and I love it. He rear-wheel drive swapped his, so when he drifts it, he's a mad lad. But the regular ones are great. They come with a 2.5 liter turbocharged flat four, making 265 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. Just all around a very, very well-rounded platform, especially if you like rally racing, especially if you live up north where there's winter and stuff. WRXs are just a good option. 12th place is another actual true import, and yes, you can find these under 10K. I was surprised myself, but it's the Toyota Mark II JZX90. The JZX90 Mark IIs are much more wanted, I would say, than the Mark II GX100s, and for good reason, but overall, the fact that they're still under 10K is mind-blowing. They come with a 2.5 liter inline six, making 200 horsepower in their rear-wheel drive, and I tell a story every time I talk about this car, but one time I was at a drift event, and I saw one of these things, given it had an automatic, but still, I saw one of these things with only 70,000 miles for $9,000. I was saying, it was so hard not to buy that thing. Barely missing out on the wonderful top 10 is the Nissan 300ZX Z32. I love Z32s. I feel like everybody in the world loves Z32s. How could you not? Unless you work on them. If you work on them, and you got to work on the side of them, you probably don't love them, especially your hands. But besides that, they're awesome. They come with a 3 liter V6, making 222 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. Same motor that they put in the Gloria, same motor that they put in the Maxima. This one's obviously a lot higher for obvious reasons. Much more sporty than those two cars. And it's rear-wheel drive still. It looks so much better. It has much more aftermarket support. It's a better investment than those. It's just all around a better car than those. 10th place is a car I used to talk about all the time. But nowadays, I feel like I don't talk about it enough anymore. It's the Mazda Speed 3 or Mazda Speed 6. They're pretty much exactly the same, except that the 6 is a sedan and it's all-wheel drive, and the 3 is a hatchback and it's front-wheel drive. Kind of pick your poison there. Comes with a 2.3 liter turbo inline four, making 263 horsepower, and again, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. 263 horsepower is no slouch, partner. That is not a bad starting point, and these things are tuning monsters, so you can get some more. 9th place is going to the beautiful Lexus IS 300, one of the more iconic JDM cars of the world, I would say. These things are very, very popular cars, and for great reason. They come with a 3 liter inline six, making 225 horsepower, and they are rear wheel drive. Yes, that's a 2JZ, but no, it's not the best 2JZ, but it's still just a really good option. And if you have a budget of 10K, that means you can find a manual one. So if you buy one of these in manuals, prices are going to go up like crazy. You can have so much fun with it while it lasts, and it's a sedan, it's reliable, it's rear-wheel drive, like come on. 8th place is a car that I feel like is, even though it's still like rising in price and people are definitely talking about it more now than they were before, I feel like this is so underrated. It's the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX 2G. I believe this should have been like one of the JDM legends, like one of the cars that people talk about all the time, and it isn't. It's mind-blowing. It comes with a 2 liter turbo inline four, making 210 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive. That is a 4G63, definitely watered down, you know, not as great. It's like G2 Gatorade, but it's still a 4G, and it's such a cool car, and Paul Walker drove it as his first car in the first Fast Furious. How is it not more popular? It blows me away. 7th place, however, is the G35 Coupe's older brother, the G37 Coupe. I get there's definitely a divide here, right? There's people that love the G37s and there's people that love the G35s, but at this point, there's no arguing the fact that the G37 is just such a better deal right now if you actually don't really care about the looks. Car comes with a 3.7 liter V6, making 330 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. More horsepower, better reliability, better tuning potential, better interior. It's around the same weight, and at this point, they're around the same price too now. And this one gives you the all-wheel drive option. It's just such a better deal than the G35, so it has to be so much higher. 6th place, however, is like the perfect daily driver in my opinion. If you're a car guy and you're just looking for a very, very cheap daily, this is like the option in my opinion. It's the Acura TL 3rd generation. It's not the sportiest car out there, but it's also definitely not no slouch either. It comes with a 3.2 liter V6, making 258 horsepower in its front wheel drive. 260 horsepower for a Honda is a lot, actually. Like, not a lot of Hondas are making that much. I don't even think the S2000 made that much, if I'm not mistaken. Civic SIs don't make that much. Like it's a lot of power, and it's a good looking car. It's reliable. It's gonna get the job done. But you know what I think is slightly better than that in the Honda family? The number 5 spot, which is the Honda Civic Si 8th generation. Technically this car is not like on paper as good as the TL, because it does only come with a 2 liter inline 4, and it only makes 197 horsepower, and it is still front wheel drive, so pretty much 50 less horsepower than, or actually pretty much 60 less horsepower than the TL. So you may be like, well, why is it 1 spot higher? The K series is just such a better motor than the J series and the TL. Like, you're gonna have so much more fun modifying a K series. Like, it's just so much better. This place is a car that I wanted to buy for like the longest time when I was in high school. That's a little fun fact for you, by the way. This was like my dream car back when I was in high school. I wanted one so bad. It's the Subaru WRX Blob-Eye. I still love them. They are ridiculously overpriced in my opinion now, but I still love them. I'm just not thinking about buying it anymore. It comes with a 2.5 liter turbo flat 4, making 225 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive. A lot better than like things like the Legacy and the Impreza GC or the Forester that we talked about earlier, because the fact that it has a turbo from factory means you won't experience as many head gasket issues. It's more reliable, and it's just so good looking. Look at those eyeballs, man. Third place is a car that if I owned right now, I would not be making YouTube videos anymore, because my full-time job would just be looking at it. The Lexus SC300 / SC400, both are really good options. We're going to talk about the 300 in this video though, which comes with a 3 liter inline 6, making 225 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. Same motor that we're putting in the IS300s. You can find a manual SC300 for less than 10K. The 400s were never made with manuals, so it's kind of like, personally I would rather have the 1UC, but at the same time I'd rather have a manual, so it's kind of like a tough combination there. Like, would you rather have the better 1UZ, at least in my opinion, or would you rather have the manual 2JZ? It's kind of pick your poison there, but both are great cars. Second place, silver medal, is going to the best, just one of the best just all-around tuner deals. If you're a tuner, like if you like just getting some cheap power out of your cars, having lightweight little canyon carvers, this is without a doubt the best option for you. The Acura RSX Type S, it is just genuinely just unmatchable if that's what you like. Comes with a 2 liter inline 4, making 201 horsepower in its front wheel drive. Again, it's another K series. It's pretty much, honestly, reminds me it's pretty much the same car as the 8th gen Civic Si. It's just much better looking. It's at that perfect age too right now, where they're kind of at their cheapest they're going to be. So you can buy it and you'll get some value out of it in a couple of years. There's such fun little like canyon carve. I love the RSX Type S so much, man. I couldn't hold it back, man. I had to put it as number 1. If you know me, you probably knew it was going to be on the list, but you probably didn't expect it to be number 1. It's the Nissan 350Z. Yes, I believe the 350Z is the best car under 10K for if you want a JDM car at least. Car comes with a 3.5 liter V6, making 306 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. I mean, honestly, like, I know that I owned a 350Z, so I'm definitely biased towards them. I like those cars. They always have been like a really cool car to me. But honestly, try and find me a reason why you wouldn't want, like, why the 350Z. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, okay, if you are a tuner, you probably won't buy a 350Z over the RSX, and that makes sense because it's not like your thing. But when I think about JDM cars, I kind of think about like the rear-wheel drive, drifting aspect, good power out of the gate, enough potential to have some fun with it afterwards if you want to, and that is exactly the 350Z. It also looks cool. It's sporty. It's got 2 seats. It's manual transmission, limited slip differential, carbon fiber drive shaft. Like, this car is a sports car, where you're just gonna have a lot of fun in it, I believe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 50 JDM sports cars for less than $10,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Again, this is the third and final video for the celebration for 100,000 subscribers. And so again, thank you guys so much. It means the world to me that we're where we're at. Obviously, in all the other videos, I've already thanked you guys for this, so it kind of probably sound like a broken record at this point, but again, yeah, thank you. I wanted to do like a whole week-long thing of top 100 videos. It just wasn't realistic. I mean, I've been working on these videos since 3 weeks ago at this point, and so I would have just had to spend ridiculous amounts of time to get these videos. And I don't even think I would have been able to do that because I download all my videos on my phone and then upload them from my phone. I don't think my phone would have had enough space, so I don't even think I would have been able to do that even if I wanted to. So Unfortunately, this wasn't like, this is gonna be the last one, but I hope you guys are still happy. Three big videos in celebration for the 100,000 subscribers. Tomorrow's just gonna be a small Mark Roden driving and talking video. We're probably gonna just drive and talk about the future plans for the channel and all that good stuff. And then we'll be back on track with the regular daily uploads on just regular videos and stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. I love you guys. Thank you so much for 100,000 subscribers. It's been great. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.